Hello there, you're listening to Wrong Ways Columbia Cast with me, Brendan Wrongway Corrigan, coming to you from no finer place than my not very soundproof temporary bedroom during these quarantine days. Strange times indeed. Now, amongst the foreign community here in Colombia, the quality or otherwise of the local food is a regular topic for discussion. Anecdotally, it's fair to say that the general reaction is that Colombian cuisine is fine, but it lags well behind that of many Asian countries. Indeed, from a Latin America perspective, many would put it behind Mexico and Peru. However, today's guest said in a recent National Geographic magazine interview, and I quote, "I've had some of the best meals of my life in Colombia." Actress, singer-songwriter and committed vegan, Kate Nash, welcome to Wrong Ways Columbia Cast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excellent to have you. Now, that statement from you about vegan food in Colombia will raise many an eyebrow, as there's an assumption that being a vegan here means one's options are severely limited. So where and when did you stumble upon such delights in Colombia?
Well, I basically was shooting a movie in Colombia at the end of last year. It was a film about coffee, and we
Oh,
shot in some of the coffee fields over there. And it was like a short. Most of the film was shot actually in Belgrade, um, but
okay.
we spent like a few days where there's some scenes where my character goes to these coffee fields, and so we spent like a few days in the sort of countryside, and then my boyfriend and I basically just took the opportunity to be in Colombia, and we booked like some nights at this a place in Bogotá that was actually like a boutique kind of. I mean, it's not quite a hotel. It actually had a vegan restaurant in the hotel, and it was this really cool place. Oh God,
You
I
can't
should have
remember
looked
the
this
name,
up
no?
before I'm gonna get it because
Okay.
I'm sure there's only like one. Oh God,
Exactly.
where the hell? It well, no. Oh, Casa Leliet, Casa Leliet.
Okay. I
Um,
can't say I've heard of it, but anyway, I'm sure I'm going to have to do a search
it's
after this.
yeah, Calais 64. It's in Bogota,
Yeah.
and it's like a boutique guest house. Really amazing, like decor, sort of like a vintagey mid-century modern vibe in there, and then a few rooms and an incredible menu, like all this amazing like home cooked vegan food. When we read about it, we couldn't believe it. I spent hours like trying to find the right place for us to stay, because I'm a bit of a like, when we go somewhere, I'm like that person that spends like hours and hours and hours like researching and trying to find these like nooks and cranny places.
Okay.
And so we stayed in this hotel. We couldn't believe it, and had just some absolutely amazing food. And actually, on the film, in the middle of the countryside, the people that were doing the catering on the film made us the most incredible meals. Um, and the first thing that I sort of felt about the food was just the taste of the vegetables was so good. And I think we all get used to eating out of season and just eating stuff from the supermarket, and it's not actually how the food tastes. Do you know what I mean? Like when you suddenly get like farm fresh food from somewhere, and you even a carrot, you're like, oh my God, this is really amazing. Like I forgot this is like what a carrot tastes like, but I'm so used to sort of a nothingy tasting food from the supermarket that we all sort of get that's sprayed with chemicals. And I just felt like the basic stuff of like the tomatoes and the avocados, and with the patacones, which I just like was obsessed with. Um,
Really?
I love them so much. Yeah, so good, like so sort of crispy and dry with the salt. That's just like right up my alley. And then they've had all this like crazy like vegan. I was really surprised at the vegan. They make it as this huge breakfast. I mean, so much food for breakfast, and it would all these different vegan bacons, and I was just really surprised. I wondered where they'd sort of got them from, you know. And so we went
Well,
on a bit of a hunt.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go on. Sorry.
No, sorry, no, go
Um,
on. You went on a bit of a hunt.
we went on a bit of a hunt, and we stumbled across some really great restaurants in Bogota. One place was called Herbivoro Cocina, which is a really great kind of like really fresh, simple stuff, but all really tasty. They have a bit of a kind of like pantry style. You can buy kitchen stuff, like dried stuff in there as well to take home, and things that you can cook at home yourself. But that place was really good. There was also there was just like a bunch near where we were staying.
Right.
And there was like a punk kind of like diner that served these mozzarella, that one was more like, deep fried, like burgers and fries and that kind of thing. And they had these cheese balls that were just like, we still talk about those cheese balls now. Like we'll just every now and then get a craving for them.
Yeah, because you talked about the vegan cheese here being the best you've
oh my
tasted.
God. I got to get a dealer for that and start selling here, because that's like the best shit I've ever had. I've been in LA, like I live in LA, and that's like a vegan hub, but the cheese here is not as good as the vegan cheese you have in Colombia. It's crazy.
Because people would say the normal cheese here, like it's not from. I'm Irish, and I know you have an Irish mother, but like we're into our cheddars and obviously the Dutch as well. That they're kind of the more mature cheese. But people tend to say the normal cheese here is a bit. It's not as mature and a bit bland. Well, yeah, I would have to say. Yeah. But you've been impressed with the vegan cheese. Now, excuse my ignorance, but how do you? What's vegan cheese? What are the ingredients of it?
A lot of vegan cheese is made from nuts. So, like almond. What I had in Bogotá was an almond mozzarella that I brought home some of the cheese. I stockpiled it and brought it home. And
I'm not sure. Is that illegal? Is that illegal or not?
I don't know. Maybe you should speak that part out. I have smuggled tens of thousands of packets of cheese now. I just brought a few home. And my sister made a pizza. It looks like mozzarella. It looks and tastes like real cheese. I've never experienced that before, because I'm not one of those people as well with vegan cheese. Like, vegan cheese is not, most of the time, even the stuff that I like and eat regularly here, it's not cheese. I used to really resent like even calling it cheese. It's like nuts. It's not actually cheesy. It's just like the replacement texture, But Bogotá Colombian almond mozzarella is fucking cheese.
Wow. Okay. I must check this out.
Stand by that in court. That is the best vegan cheese I've ever had. And my sister, who's old, like a bit older than me, and not, she tries to be vegetarian, but she wouldn't be able to. Cheese is one of her things that she's like, I couldn't give it up. And she said, if I could eat cheese like this all the time, I would be vegan.
Well, we're going to have to get you working for the Colombian Tourism Board, or at least the food board, if they have one here. You're doing a great job.
I would happily, if they hooked me up with that cheese, then I would happily do that.
And did you get the name of the cheese? Is there like a company behind it, or obviously there is a company behind it, but what's the name?
Yeah, I've got a picture of it somewhere. I'll have to find that and track it down. Or maybe I can even, it'll be Googleable. I'm going to check that out. Mozzarella, Bogotá.
Okay. By the way, you mentioned that you were here then to film a movie about coffee. What was the name of that? What is that out yet?
Oh yeah, it's called Higher Grounds, and it's it's not out yet. So I think it's going to be coming out this year, maybe sooner than originally planned because of everything that's going on, actually. So we'll see. It's like a comedy about veganism and coffee, and it's got a great like cast full of like a lot of like UK actors, and it was really good fun to make. And it's like
throw out a few names there. Who are in it?
Saoirse Monica Jackson from Derry Girls. You know Saoirse Monica Jackson?
Okay. I'm terrible with a lot of this. I'm very, I guess, stuck in the 20th century. But anyway.
Well, you must know
other
Sally
people
Phillips.
will know. If I saw the photo, I'd probably know. If I saw the photo, I'd probably know.
Do you remember Smack the Pony?
Yes, I do remember it anyway, vaguely. That was it Channel 4 or something, no?
Yeah, and she's like an icon, a British comedian icon. She's in Veep, she was in like some just really
Loads of
iconic,
stuff. Okay.
comedy stuff. But yeah, like a great like UK, some like Jordan Stevens, an actor from London, Owain Jones, really funny cast. We had like Toby Sebastian. We had so much fun working together, all of us, and it's sort of
Okay.
like an oddball comedy team movie.
And good British comedy, so yeah, to look
Yeah,
forward to.
yeah.
Irish British comedy, I like to
Irish,
think it's
Welsh,
the
British
best.
comedy. Yeah,
Oh, okay, right, a
directed
nice
by
mix.
Americans, so
Oh, okay, right. So
ticking all
yeah,
the
well,
boxes there.
exactly. It should reach go very far.
Yeah.
You mentioned as well in that National Geographic interview that you will come back to Colombia just for the food alone.
Oh,
I'm going to
no.
have to mention another place that's vegetarian and also has vegan food that just opened, and it's. Opened by a countryman of yours, another Englishman from just outside Manchester, with his New York
Yeah.
partner. It's called Mesa Salvaje, so that's one you'll probably have to check out the next
Okay.
time you come back.
Oh, and the
it,
punk diner place was called Electra.
okay, right. I'm going to have to. You're making me feel as if I don't live in this city anymore.
I know. I'm like, what do you know about food in Colombia? Huh? Not as much as me.
I'm not great. I'm stuck in my ways. You see, that's the thing.
Yeah, got to get out there. Electra with a K, Elektra. It's like a punk diner with. You've got to get the mozzarella cheese balls there. Oh my god, it's out of control.
Okay, yeah, gonna check that out for sure. By the way, so Colombia is in the trajectory for the next in the next year or so. Will you come back? I guess coronavirus dependent, of course, but you will be coming back.
Coronavirus dependent. We might not all be going anywhere.
Well,
Bogota was a city where I actually felt like me and my boyfriend talked seriously about living there. We were like, maybe we could live here. This feels like such a good city because it felt like some cities I find a bit too much now. I mean, I'm from London, so I'm happy in London. But when I go to New York, for example, I just get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, it's too much. I've been living in LA for a while, so I like getting outdoors and nature and all of that stuff is so much more important to me now than like just being and because I don't drink and stuff, I'm not like nightlife city person really anymore.
yeah.
But Bogota had all of the appeal of like a city life, and it felt like it had all this cool stuff going on. But the people were like walking slow paced, and it was chilled, and like I felt like I was like in a city, but with people that were like that come from like the countryside and were just really chilled out. So you didn't have that like bustle of people like smashing past you and kind of not giving a shit who you are. It was like everyone was going at their own pace, and I just loved that because I thought, oh, this is like the best of both worlds. Really, you're getting like the energy of people that are from like not from a city but inside a city, and yeah, it felt really comfortable there. And then we went up to Chingaza and did a hike. We hiked.
All right.
Oh my god, I don't know how many hours we must have hiked Chingaza for, like 12 hours or something.
So you really got out, yeah.
Yeah, we went on a really intense hike. We found this tour guide who oh my, I could probably find his name actually. We found this incredible tour guide in who would take us up to Chingaza, and he said that he was so used to having older like clientele that were not up for the sort of like bigger hikes that they had, and he was really excited to have us. So he took us, he was like, we're going to go like even further, we're going to go on the big hike. And our driver, bless him, came with us, who was just dressed in sort of loafers and jeans and a little like Adidas zip up, and we were in our like hiking gear. And the mountain almost defeated us. Like it got crazy. My boyfriend was like roly-polying down the mountain on the way back. Like we were falling in mud. We were trying to find these little bears that eat those pineapple trees. And it becomes like it's freezing at the top of the mountain. But just so beautiful and so cool. And that the weird kind of like flowers and landscape that I just hadn't seen before, and yeah.
Yeah, so you passed through the paramos, of course, as they call them here.
Yeah, Yeah, it was
You
amazing.
took in a lot, of course. Then, so how long were you here in total in
How
Colombia?
long? We were only there for like 5 days, I think. But
Oh wow.
the tour that took us on to Chingaza was Viator. I really recommend
Okay.
Viator. That was who took us up there. We just tried to soak in as much as possible, really, and it was so nice because we had such a busy summer making the movie, and I was doing touring in between. And then when we got to Bogota, we were like, oh, we can just do whatever we want. So we basically just ate and like went to Chingaza, and like that was about it.
Okay. Well, you
And
saw the
yeah,
best of both worlds. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
The
We loved
cuisine.
the what's that? Sorry.
No, sorry, go on. I was going to say the cuisine and the nature, but go on. You love the. I know there's a
Oh, the
little bit of a
cuisine and the
delay here.
nature
Yep.
and the
Hmm.
juice and the juice. Oh my god, we loved the people the production company that worked on the film with us were really really nice. So they took us out to different places too. Yeah, we just had such
Right.
a
Okay.
cool
I
experience
had to
there.
chuckle there when you mentioned about the kind of slow pace here in Bogota, because what's kind of a positive on one side, it can become a negative, because one of the things about
Yes.
longer term people here, foreigners, North Americans and maybe Northern Europeans, say that they get frustrated at the slow pace that people walk and block the streets. So
Yeah,
maybe after a while you mightn't think it's a positive, but I'm sure if you're here
maybe.
just to relax, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. The what was it they say? Bogota, you're on Bogota time or you're on Colombia time.
Colombian time,
That
yeah, exactly.
So that works for me because I was born on Colombia time, so I just felt like I fit in really. I was like, finally, I'm home. People accept me here.
Well, you've an Irish mother, and obviously I'm Irish too. So yeah, like back in the day as well, the Irish weren't great for timekeeping, so I can understand where that
There you
comes from.
go.
I take
That's
it,
probably
yeah.
where it's from as well. Yeah.
In terms of Irish food, like you know, we do like to pride ourselves on our vegetables and cheeses and things like that. Did you go
Yeah.
back to Ireland in your younger days?
Of course, basically every summer holiday I spent in Ireland, which at the time I'd always be sort of jealous, of my friends who got to go to like
More
wherever they
exotic
were going.
places, yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
Spain and
Spain,
France and
yeah.
Turkey and stuff back in the day, and I would be really jealous. And but I went back to Ireland couple of years ago and did a solo like adult trip there, and it was, well, my boyfriend and I say solo, but just going like as adults and not with my parents is what I mean. Because
Yeah.
I just, my memory was being in the back of a car, trapped in the back of the car and like feeling car sick all the time, going around like all the hills. And then we'd stay in Cavan and Sligo with cousins and Galway, and we'd literally be like jumping in streams and playing in streams and jumping over it, like running around farmland and stuff. And I've got amazing memories of playing and really loving seeing my cousins and stuff. But I think I was sort of jealous of these more exotic locations when I heard what my friends were doing. But when I went as an adult, and I drove down the wild Atlantic Way, the West Coast,
All right.
and we just sort of planned a few places to stay, but we didn't fully plan it out. We picked places along the way, and oh my god, I just think Ireland is one of the most beautiful countries in the whole world. I saw the best sunset I've ever seen in my life, like ever.
On the Atlantic, I take it. On the yeah.
We were near the cliffs of Moher, and
Ah, okay.
we stayed in a little town called I think it was Kilkee.
Yeah, yeah, that would be it. Yeah, exactly.
And in a hotel called the Stella Marie Hotel, which we decided to stay in, which we saw, and we were like, we'd like basically pick a sort of place we wanted to kind of head towards, and then we'd look up like B&Bs and stuff. And we looked it up, and it was like Stella Marie, and my dog's called Stella and my mum's called Marie. So we were like, that's a sign, let's stay at the Stella Marie Hotel. And we met this guy called Michael O'Connell, who was sitting down, like we ate there. They had about 10 rooms, and we got a room, and we went down to the pub, and there was like a family playing like trad music, which was like, the mum was singing, the 8-year-old boy was like shredding an accordion, one of the best, most incredible, like technical players you've ever seen, but he's just in a puffer jacket and kind of yawning and like doesn't want to be there. And he's like the most amazing musician ever.
Right.
And Michael O'Connell was drinking a glass of wine and a cup of tea, and he was uploading. He was an older guy, 70. He was in his 70s, and he was like the town kind of tour guide. People would come up to us and say, "Oh, you're another victim of Michael O'Connell," and stuff like that. And then he just told us everything about the town, and he was so nice. And he actually missed his last lift home because he was talking so much, which is very Irish of him. And
Right,
so
indeed.
I said, Michael, I'll give you a lift home. Come on, where do you live? And we got in the car. He lived miles and miles away, and he was going to walk, and he carries in his bag a high-vis jacket and a torch and walks through these like country. I mean, it would have taken him 2 hours walk back. And
Wow.
and he said that he often misses his last lift, basically because he loves talking to people so much that he has to carry his high-vis and torch to walk back. I just loved that.
Yeah, that is very Irish. I liked your Irish accent as well there. You did a nice job in the Irish. Yeah, excellent. Well, you're doing great wonders for tourism for Ireland and Colombia whenever the world gets back to normal and we can start travelling again, whenever that is. Who knows? But yeah, so we mentioned coronavirus, and of course, well, we have to mention it these days, but everything's on hold then in terms of recording of filming of Glow. Everything's paused, I take it, for the moment.
Yeah, everything's on hold. Yeah, we don't know. I really have not got any information, just like everyone else, really. We started like filming season 4, which was really fun. And then quickly, like, it was like 2 days of fun and then 2 days of like what's happening, because we were hearing other productions were shutting down. We were hearing about the spread of coronavirus, and it was just like a weird environment. And then they sat us down. They called us in for a meeting and just sat us down and told us that we had to stop filming, and that like basically every other production was. And I think at the time, sort of like how we were told it was like definitely going to be 2 weeks, and then unknown after that. And then we're past the 2 week mark now, and I sort of I had like an expectation that it could potentially be months. I mean, who knows? But I'm hopeful and confident that like we pick up again when we can. And I think that's sort of how everybody feels. It's just we just don't know, do we, what's in store. So Glow is amazing, and I look forward to getting back to filming it when we can.
And in terms of, has the acting then kind of taken top priority for you, or do you I mean, I know your new single is out now, Bad Lieutenant, but has the singing and songwriting taken a back seat for the moment, or is it kind of balancing both worlds?
It's a balance. It's really a balance. I feel like it, like, acting is more, weirdly, what really pushed me into doing my first show was I didn't get into drama school, university, and I felt like kind of frustrated that I wasn't in control of that. The barriers were shut, the doors were shut, and I was like, oh, music I can do independently and I can just do it myself. And then all of a sudden acting became a more stable job for me, because I was employed seasonally on Glow, and I got a few like movie roles and bits here and there. But music is like my heart and soul, and I'm always doing music and figuring out and writing songs and trying to sort of plan, I guess, when I'm going to next release them. And it's a balance of schedules more than anything else, I think.
Yeah.
It's not like I've put music on the back burner. It's just like, when is a good time to tour and when is a good time to release. And if I get a job that's like security for me from acting, I'm going to go with that, because it just feels really like it's so much. The thing about music is you spend so much money trying to make it and release it and tour it. I mean, honestly, the output financially with music is more a lot of the time than the input, because it costs a lot of money to like have a record produced and mixed and mastered, and then and then even like making the physical copies or selling it, and then going on the road and paying everyone on the road, it's like it can be a big financial burden. So that's why it's been so nice for me to have the acting, because I feel like it's taken a little bit of that stress off, where I can like have a job and be employed and be paid to work, rather than being the one paying everyone else all the time. It's quite nice to be like, okay, I feel like that's secure, and it gives me a bit more freedom to then continue like making music on my own terms. But it's a constant journey, because I'm also like wondering what is the future, especially now with COVID. I'm sort of like, what is the future of music going to look like? What are labels going to be off? What's going to happen to the labels and even distribution? And what is our future going to be? And I'm really intrigued. I really would like to. I don't know. I'm always open to exploring new things. I'm not like.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and interesting you mentioned that, because I wanted to ask you, and I'm going to ask you, like, we hear a lot these days, and I wrote a story myself about this, in terms of the post-coronavirus crisis world, that people are talking about that we must reappraise our values, that, we don't pay our health staff enough, and nurses, getting paid peanuts compared to other people. And one of those is this kind of cult of celebrity. And obviously you're in LA, the home of celebrity and all that kind of stuff. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think there needs to be maybe a little bit of a rebalance in terms of how we value people, whether that's monetary wise or whatever, but that our values at the moment for a lot of people are a little bit skewed? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite I've been quite grossed out by a lot of the content I've seen online from people. It's felt a bit like a content shitting contest is what I've been calling it. I just feel like people will exploit anything to promote themselves, and anyone who's just kind of carrying on like normal and posting like so many pictures of themselves and selfies and selling products and pretending that they're doing something good by making a t-shirt that's actually they're profiting from, but they're like saying it goes to charity, but it's only like even like 25%. I'm like, can you give 100%? You know what I mean? Like, why are you profiting off of the virus? And and just that, like, I think it's social media as well, though, because it's not just celebrities. It's like anyone with a big following on social media, which maybe that is celebrity now. But it's got a different meaning, because it's so like it can be so part of an algorithm. Someone can be a huge celebrity on Instagram but isn't like a household name or something. You know what I mean? It's like celebrity's so sort of dispersed now. And but yeah, I think I found it all quite gross, and I would really like there to be a step back from the obsession with the self and the encouragement from these apps to. Like, it's like they want us to be the biggest narcissists we could be and be so self-involved, and just you're encouraged, actually, because I feel like I have to use social media to promote my work, because I'm not like always supported by media and I don't have a label, so that's really important for me to use social media. But guess what, posts don't get seen unless it's a picture of my face or my arse, like, and that's and then I become part of playing that game, because I have to, because I'm independent. So I'm like, well, I really want this to be heard, so I'm going to have to post a picture of myself to get any attention on it. But then it's also really hard to measure. I don't really know. I'm like, does that translate into ticket sales? Does that translate into people listening to my music? I don't know. But there are still people out there signing bands based off of how many followers they have, and actors getting jobs based off how much of a social media following they have. And so this popularity contest like is dictating like who's getting employed in the creative arts, and that's kind of fucked up, because who's getting the most followers and likes is the biggest narcissists. I don't know, it's really weird.
It is. I mean, it's something we could do a podcast episode on itself. I
would love to see it sort of die a little bit.
Here, exactly. Because I mean, look, obviously you're a talented singer and songwriter and an actress now as well, in terms of like you can show what you've done and it's there for everybody to see. But these people who are influencers just because, they take a pretty picture of themselves or something having breakfast, or, it's just, it doesn't make any sense, really.
It's very strange, isn't it?
It's kind of like... It is.
I also wonder how satisfying it is to like to do that, because although maybe they make really good money and that's enough, but I personally feel so, after I've spent time on social media, even if I'm using it for work or if I'm just sort of addicted and using it, I always feel like, God, have I done anything? Like, I dread to think of how many hours I've spent on here and what that would sum up to in my whole lifespan. And if I'd be on my deathbed, I feel like on my deathbed, the one regret I will have is like, oh, I spent so much time on fucking social media. Like, that's actually something you could regret.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's not really contact. It's not really connection. It's fake. It's promotion. It's not connection. And it's self-promotion. And
Yeah, exactly.
and I think that even like what's happening in coronavirus is kind of proving that. Is like, you know, it's not the it's the apps like Zoom or FaceTime or House Party that people are using, because Instagram is a little bit like, I don't want to see someone who like takes perfect pictures at home, just taking perfect pictures. Now I'm like, I don't care, you know, I don't want, and even someone I like who's still putting up that facade of like, everything's normal, here's my normal Instagram content. I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, fucking go on pause like the rest of us and like stop being obsessed with yourself. So I'm not like talking to my friends really on there. I'm calling my friends, and funnily enough, I feel like I've got, since I'm not posting stuff on social media as much, me and my friends are contacting each other more in a genuine way. Like, you're not just like, oh, I've seen what Bob and Steve and Janet and whoever have done because I've just looked at their stories and like that's my contact with them. So I feel like I'm in their life and they've seen that I've looked at their stories. Like, that's not connection. That's like ticking a box.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, like the other day, like we had like a FaceTime hangout with our friends and we just sat in the garden and they were in their kitchen. We just talked for like an hour and it was so fun. And like, and we wouldn't have done that. Like, I mean, obviously we meet up and stuff, but it was like this online contact that's like just talking to each other. And I think that's so so valuable, and it's really obvious how valuable it is at a time like this.
Yeah, like it's something deeper, I guess, rather than, as you said, that superficial stuff. Yeah, exactly, on Instagram, and I'm like yourself, obviously too, because with the podcast and all that, you know, you try and promote it. If I could leave Facebook and Instagram behind in the morning, I would, but you know, we kind of have to.
I know it's such a blessing and a curse, because it's enabling you to do this. So that's how I feel. It's like it gives me the opportunity to be an independent artist, and like, thank God. But at the same time, I think there's so many flaws within it that it's not. It's the people controlling it. It's the people controlling the algorithm and the people controlling like the sponsored content, and not doing anything about the culture of bullying and abuse and like it. Like, the people that make these apps, what they're spending their money on is hiring like neuroscientists and psychologists and people that build like apps in people that build like slot machines in Vegas, and trying to make it as addictive as possible. They're not focusing on the well-being, they're not focusing on the community, and they need to be held accountable because they're the ones profiting off all of it. And I think like they have a lot to answer for, the people in San Francisco, like building these apps, and fucking Facebook, like Lord, what's his name?
Zuckerberg.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
He should be more responsible for like making these things, because it's all about like, it is about the people making them. It's not about us, and we're not using them wrong. Like, they have literally made them this way, so they're in control of us. And you know, we just have to play that game because there's not another one to play yet. But
yeah, well, I remember it was an Argentinian doctor, I think, and we'll wrap this up. I know I've kept you a good half an hour already, or more, 40 minutes. But
that's all right. Getting quite impassioned now.
Well, I know, exactly, but I mean, it's a fascinating topic. But this Argentinian doctor, I remember listening to him last year talking about, like, he reckons in a generation or two we'll look back at this period and it'll be the same way that we look at smoking in the 60s and the 70s. Like, what were we thinking?
I agree. And I also think now is the time that these people should be like being held accountable by the public and by the government, because what they're working on for the future is AI. Like, they're one of the main things that's being worked on right now. I listen to this tech podcast that it's fucking really highly, I don't actually recommend it because it's really stressful listening to it. It just makes you terrified. But one of the main things being worked on right now is how to be able to like get like control people's dreams and to affect people in their sleep. Because the head of Netflix, oh, I shouldn't say that, should I? Head of Netflix, I'm actually a part of Netflix. But apparently, I mean, it is a quote from the head of Netflix that said that the biggest enemy of Netflix isn't Amazon. It's like it's when you go to bed. It's when you stop streaming. I think I need to check who said it. So
okay.
maybe
somebody said it anyway. May not have been the head of Netflix, but yeah,
somebody said it. But like that's really interesting, isn't it? Because it's like the biggest enemy is like when we stop. We actually have to rest our bodies. We have to switch off like recharge our batteries or whatever. And so then we can't stream anymore. And so loads of companies want, like, they're hiring neuroscientists to try and make that happen. And I was listening to an interview with a neuroscientist who said a lot of his theories used to be science fiction and now they're actually not, and they're able to be possible, and things that he thought were never possible are possible. So now when he has these ideas, he's not as like, he doesn't just write them off as science fiction, because things change so drastically with technology and have done in the last 10 years. And so these people are like working on affecting, they're going to want to put chips in brains, and, you know, these things that are going to, you think at the moment when you sign in into Google and you click accept to all these cookies and these terms and conditions that you don't really understand, and you're like, well, I've got nothing to hide, so that doesn't really matter. And also I have to use it. Like I have to use these things that make the world run at the moment for my business and stuff. So you feel like you have no choice and you just click accept and everything. And it doesn't really matter right now, because if you've got nothing, unless you're like trying to hide some secret underground like ring of I don't know, black market like dealings or whatever, like you've got nothing to hide. But it's going to be different when they're like actually trying to affect because it's, and they've always been trying to do it with advertising. I hope I don't sound like a conspiracy theorist. It's actually from a science podcast, a science tech podcast that I listen to. But when they're like going to be affecting our dreams and our sleep and our brains, like that's going to be a whole different thing.
Well, yeah, it brings it to another dimension completely.
I feel like it's going to have to be implemented now before it gets to that point, because at that point surely it will be too late. But one of the things they said, sorry, I find this so fascinating, the neuroscientist was saying that the difference that having a chip in our brain, it would mean that like everyone could have a really high IQ, and he said it would create the biggest difference in class that we've ever seen, because money would literally buy you intelligence and knowing like everything. And he would imagine it to be like phones, and how these different kind of like packages that you'll get like more for more money, you know, so you'd have limited IQ for less money, and that the difference in the IQ is so drastic, even though it's like 5% or something. That's the same as us and this certain type of monkey, and it's only like a 5% difference in our brains or something. I can't remember what monkey it was, but he was kind of just showing like how these small percentages, he would like, it would separate the next kind of evolution so drastically that if the people that opted out of the chips would be considered monkeys, and like the next step would be this evolution towards AI, I suppose, which is why like what's his name from SpaceX talks so much about integrating it with technology. But I don't know, I think I'll probably just be a monkey. I think monkeys,
well, yeah, it seems a bit scary. I was going to say be a monkey. Well, let's go back to nature. Monkeys, yeah, and just enjoy.
I mean, when you watch nature documentaries, you're like, that's how to live. So I feel like I'm going to be a monkey.
Yeah, we just need to get back to nature, and maybe that's a nice full circle talking about nature, and there's plenty of unspoilt nature here in Colombia. So you
Absolutely.
will just to reiterate that you're gonna make it back to Colombia, hopefully, I guess next year now at this stage.
Yeah, I'd love to play a show in Colombia, and maybe I'll move there. Who knows when all this blows over.
Yeah, well, when you're back, we'll have to get you in studio or whatever, and we'll have a right chat, and you'll have to show me those vegan places.
Yeah, I'll take you to the vegan places. Can you tell I haven't like really been out, or like I just talked about like chips in the brain?
Yeah, this is a coronavirus quarantine podcast interview, and I love it. It's excellent. Yeah,
I'm like, oh my god, I'm doing work. Woo!
Yeah, we can all. Yeah, exactly. It's a release. It's a release for all of us. I mentioned, by the way, we'll do your plugging now as well, just to wrap up. So, Bad Lieutenant is out now, yes, so people can get that.
Yeah, the video's on YouTube and it's on every other, Spotify and streaming and everything.
Excellent. And anything else musically wise in the pipeline?
Well, I am about to start a Patreon, which will just be like patreon.com/Kate Nash. And I haven't announced that yet, but I'm working on it, and I'm hopefully going to be doing a celebratory some celebratory stuff on there for the anniversary of it's the 10-year anniversary of My Best Friend Is You this month. Okay. So I want to do some special things on the Patreon to celebrate that. And we're going to be I'm going to be working with some of my bandmates and crewmates, and we're going to be raising money for various causes like this during this period of time. We're starting with a charity that's really close to Linda, who's my guitarist, is Italian, and obviously Italy was hit so hard. All her family are there. And so we are choosing to raise money for a charity in Bologna that works with LGBTQI young people. So that's going to be happening this month.
Okay, excellent. So a case of watch this space, more details to come, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
And now to give the devil his due, as they say, people can follow you on Instagram and all that to get the information.
Follow me for pictures of myself, etc. Instagram, Kate Nash, and Twitter, Kate Nash. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Kate, an absolute pleasure. Thanks a million for giving us all that time. We've covered many bases there. And it'd be great to have you back on Wrong Ways Columbia Cast. I'm going to give my little plugs as well. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at WA Corrigan, on Facebook, the Facebook page at Wrong Way Corrigan blog. That is our lot for this episode of Wrong Ways Columbia Cast. Until the next time, ciao, ciao.
Thank you.